True American brain maggot. Reporting for duty!
Competition
I love you, brain maggot. Never leave.
A few months ago, I was standing next to this beaker, and it somehow just spontaneously broke. This piece of glass just spit itself off, and there was then a hole in the beaker. At the time, the beaker was empty and not doing anything though, so it didn't really matter, and I honestly didn't think too much about it. It was definitely weird, and I didn't really understand why or how it happened, but I ended up just forgetting about it and moving on with whatever I was doing. A few weeks later though, when I was filming for a video, it happened again, but this time, the beaker was full of acid. Thankfully, it was just all dilute acid, so it wasn't really a huge disaster, but it did end up spilling everywhere. When it happened the first time, I thought that it was just some weird freak accident or something, but now that it happened again, I started to worry about what was happening. The break that happened was very weird and was also exactly the same, where this small piece of glass was ejected from the beaker. I tried thinking about what would cause it to break so weirdly like this, and it only took me a couple minutes to figure it out. Back in August, I posted a video about making plasma in the microwave, and to do this, I ran it in beakers every time. The plasma was extremely hot though, and in several runs I let it go for a really long time, and it probably got close to melting the glass. This wasn't very good though, because after that, as the glass cooled, it probably introduced a bunch of new internal stresses. To avoid this, I would have had to anneal it, which meant that I'd have to cool it at a very slow rate and then hold it at a certain temperature so that all these internal forces could slowly even out. I of course didn't do that though, and the moment it was done in the microwave, I just popped it out and let it cool back down to room temperature. Also, in that plasma video, I found that as the plasma formed, it would pull sodium ions from the glass, and this could also potentially destabilize it. So, in the cases that I just let the plasma sit there, it might have been messing it up in two ways. After this, the glass was potentially under some extreme stress, but I didn't know that at the time, so I mixed everything back with all my normal unused beakers. However, now, I had no idea which ones were the good ones, or the ones that might just potentially explode. They all visually looked the same, and the only way that I thought that I could maybe see the difference was by looking at the glass through polarized light. This is often used to see the different stress patterns in glass, and it probably could have worked, but I just didn't really think it was worth all the effort. Also, I'm really not an expert when it comes to glass stress patterns, and I really didn't want to risk even just missing one faulty one. The idea of just having even one beaker that could potentially break on its own was really scary to me, not only for safety reasons, but also it could potentially ruin an entire project. So, I decided that my only option was to just sacrifice all of them. Thankfully though, because they were my own branded beakers, I was able to buy them in bulk for a lot cheaper, and this isn't a huge financial loss. I felt like it was a total waste if I just threw them out though, so instead, I decided to have some fun with it.
That was fun. Off I go. Get to the cart. We're a good team, Maggot. Yes, we are, soldier. Putas, creepy toots.
the feeling. You make a well-constructed argument backed by faultless facts and logic. But it doesn't matter, because the adversary thinks they're smarter than I and makes a witty comment. I'm in the most remote parts of the Finnish lakeland, and I still can't find who asked, they say. There is no hint of rational thought in his incoherent blabbering. However, you realise that you indeed cannot answer the question of who asked, leaving their shriveled muttered mind to believe that they've won. This is unacceptable, but there is nothing you can do, as the tormenting cold of this answerless question extinguishes your voice entirely. Normally, you would probably just walk away and cope, or cry about it and think of something to say a few hours later. But what if I told you there was another way? A way of finding exactly who asked, so that you can shove this information back into their condescending, witless, dishcloth face. Development of this machine dates back to the spring of 1963, when Ford Motor Company was poised to negotiate a successful buyout of Ferrari. Enzo Ferrari himself was at first eager to accept the deal, but Ford made one fatal mistake. A clause in the contract stated that Ford would hold complete authority over budgeting, including for Scuderia and Ferrari. Enzo was unwilling to relinquish control over the racing division of his company. Upon learning this, he was utterly offended. He accused Henry Ford II of building ugly cars in an ugly factory and insinuated that he would never live up to his grandfather, the real Henry Ford. He lambasted Ford for violating his integrity as a constructor, a man, and an Italian. To this tirade of insults, Henry Ford II simply replied,
Okay, but who asked?
This scathing attack humiliated and enraged Enzo, who vowed that Ford would be punished severely for their derogatory proposal. He would show them exactly who asked. Thus, as he embarked on his pioneering expedition, the Who Asked radar was born, and after almost 20 years of development and a joint collaboration between Lancia and Ferrari, it made its debut in 1983. This was the result. It was mounted on a Lancia Abarth 037, built to the regulations of FIA Rally Group B, which produced the fastest, most powerful and most sophisticated rally cars ever made. The Lancia is no exception. The absolute pinnacle of two-wheel drive design, it was the last of its kind to win the World Rally Championship, and there is no better platform on which to mount the Who Asked radar. As for the radar itself, it was the brainchild of Enzo Ferrari. It searches the entire globe and finds the exact time and location of all the people who have inquired. At last, the haunting enigma of Who Asked will be put to rest. Once an unstoppable force that installed fear into all who heard it, the two words now mean nothing to you, and the next person to attempt mounting this weak maneuver will be woefully unprepared for the total annihilation they are doomed to face. With this weapon in your arsenal, you can now insert yourself into any conversation with complete confidence that no one will be able to parry your attacks. Who asked? A feeble voice mutters. A smile cracks across your face. The next victim of the Who Asked radar has volunteered himself for destruction. They asked, and you shall provide. You start the machine. You take a nice drive down the North Coast 500 in Scotland. You show them your findings. Yes.
What the dog doing?
Let's stop that freaking thing! Medic!
You are all maggots! Get to the cart!
Jesse, I have no money for fucking bills and steam cells. Sorry, Mr. White.
Up, Jesser.
But Mr. I'm high XDDD ZS. What the fuck, Jesse? Mr. White, let's fuck hookers.
Jesse, well, Matthew.
Sorry, Mr. White. Just your first cocainer. Mr. Will. Mr. Witte, I inquire at the... Okay, stop. Please, man, what just a crumby of cookie. Just say we cock that tea for Mr. Frank. Very important now to go. Mr. What? We don't have methamphetamine. Oh. Mr. Witte, where is my 3 kilometer? Where is my mothi, Mr. White? We don't have it, Mr. White. You still don't, Mr. White. Mr. White, what's up with the hair loss? Jesse, I'm fucking homeless, Jesse. Mike. Jesse. Mike. Do you know where I can find a good spot to sleep? My wife kicked me out. Mike, just give me a fat crumb of cocaine. Jesse, hurry up. This cost 6% discount on this. Mr. White, we don't have money. Mr. White, I'm taking this fish discount. Discount. Oh. Water, let me hit B, mate. Why am I good husband? Sex? I can't bother, mate. I'm cooking for it. For KBPS. Yes. Jesse, I'm fucking old. Jesse, I'm done with cocky. Richie is dead, and I'm addicted for not paying bills. Mr. Wade, use some methodi. Jesse, I gambled my son with DDS. No, I'm disabled. I'm disabled. Walter. Jesse always kept with my 1992. Let's fix it. Welcome to Bottom Gear, mates. Today on Bottom Gear, I drive a silent electric car, Hammond uses a fucking toilet, and James commits arson. Warning, Sean budget does not exceed 23 yen. Good evening, ladies and gents. Today our sponsors are MSC Colgate B450. Check them out, promo code revving my wife tonight. Fuck. Today we'll be reviewing one of the Canon vehicle that has about 2.3 GHz revving engine sound. Goes up to the, I don't know, fucking 88mm for every time I find a proper job in Mexico. Mate, we're going to ask, do you want anything? Oi, love, you put them going back, give me ciggy in it, cheese told blokes have to fuck along the fish and chip, bloody off. Hey man, you tiny man, where's the Lambo Shadow? You gonna crash into James' car, mate? Hammond, you sodding tech, this was my Lamborghini. Call 999, me fucking car's being on fire, mate. Hammond, I have cracked addiction, I'm dying. Jeremy, after 24 savings today, I don't know what to do next. Please help me, I can't go have petroleum promoted. Tell me, I'll meet him gear. What happens when you taste exhaust fume? Yeah, I'll have a whiff. Air noise. No, Jeremiah, car got bass for health. Shut Cock. Shut up, James. The Swedish, I love my weed, car, feet, bottom. Oh my God. Grand Ricky. New TV contract. New show. Say what? $91.9 TDI, mate. Let's fucking go, yeah? On today's episode, I'm with a fat proper one, mate. Disclaimer, the roadtrip can only be seen in the Amazon rainforest. Let's kick it off, mates. We're on the way to smuggle bootleg cigarettes in Brazil, yeah? Oi, mates. Fat rip of that bonga and I'm going bananas. I just bought this Australian car for 30 quid. God damn it, Hammock, you bloody idiot. Look what you did, mate. Sorry, someone thought my tires were radiant. Sure, mate, the wind's been strong, isn't it? Yeah. Right, mate, just got this Ferrari for 50p and has the bloody bargain in it. This, car, mate, bloody speed goes 2 gigabytes so fast per hour. Don't be shy, mates, come on in. Oh, piss off, James, what did you have to be Taco Bell? Subscribe to my channel, mates, Excrement Gaming. No, this is bad, I have to go to court on Sunday for blowing up a building. Yes. Fuck's sake, Jeremy, you hunter, I'm falling. James, come back. Stay on Grand Strip. Take a Mazda Honda on the 5-meter sprint against the Hornets. Check out me nan's fucking mobility scooter, yeah? Let's rev up, mate. Too fast, too fast, too fast. Shite. We've total pissed this off, haven't we? Today we take a trip to Japan to get an increase.
4, 3, 2, 1.